Hi team. So I'm doing things a little differently today. Let me know what you think in the comments, but the other week I watched Tiana from Chai T's video where she gave the Netflix adaptation of the Winx Club's wardrobe a bit of a redesign. If you somehow haven't seen that video, you definitely should check it out because it was really cool. And I just thought that the ideas were fun and they made me want to draw. So today I'm going to be drawing some of those ideas. Just a disclaimer, there are going to be 6 drawings in this video, so I tried to keep them a bit more on the simple side and limit myself to about 2 to 2.5 hours per drawing, which didn't always happen, but I tried, mainly because otherwise I would have gone insane. So the shading and stuff is going to be a bit more simplistic. I'm going to just stick to some cell shading and stuff, so please don't expect any fully rendered pieces from me. I might do some in the future, but not for this specific video. Anyways, like always, feel free to play this in the background while you draw along, and let's get into it. Hi! So the first fairy is Flora, and I completely agree with Tiana's ideas for her possible outfits. She definitely gives me the nature prints, flowy shirts and dresses and bright colours kind of vibe. I love the idea of the whole wide leg butterfly jeans that Tiana recommended, and so I 1000% put her in those. As soon as I decided to draw Flora, I knew that I would use those jeans. And for a loose flowy top, do you guys remember the strawberry dress everyone on the internet was obsessed with? Yeah, I made her top the top half of that dress. I also tried to make her character look a bit more plus size to align with that little bit of representation that Netflix gave us, though it did make me realize that I don't actually draw plus size characters very often. I just don't feel like I did a very good job of that because I kept automatically reverting to how I normally draw characters. But regardless, I did try to capture that kind of idea, and I hope it came across at the very least. Though I also know that there was a bit of backlash against Netflix for basically whitewashing Flora, as if she couldn't have been both plus sized and Latinx. It was a bit weird, and then Netflix responded with a defense that the girl in the TV show is Terra and not Flora, who we might see in another season, and if you do see her, she definitely will not be white, so everyone will be quiet. I don't know, I just wasn't super impressed with that. I don't understand why she or Tecna weren't in the first season, though I haven't actually watched the Netflix adaptation. I probably should have started with that. I haven't actually watched it. So there might be an in-series explanation, or it might make logical sense to the plot for why they're not in there yet. But yeah, I'm just not super interested in the whole dark, edgy thing Netflix thinks that they need to do to shows to make them more engaging to an adult audience. Okay, wait. Pause the drawing. I actually have some thoughts on this. You can skip ahead if you're just here for the art. But Netflix had one kind of success with Riverdale, and they keep trying to replicate that success with Teen Titans, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Winx Club, and don't even get me started on the rumors about what they wanted to do with Avatar: The Last Airbender. We thought we were getting a good one. We thought. But it's just always made me feel like I'm reading a fanfiction of the actual media, and they've just taken the characters that people already know and like, so they don't really have to character build as much because you already understand something about those characters. Then they've aged them up and made sure that adult actors are playing them, so it's okay to sexualize them. And on top of that, they just go on and bombard them with trauma after trauma for shock value and plot tension, I guess, without actually properly dealing with the topics. This isn't me hating on fanfiction. I've read a lot of really good fanfiction that treats its characters better than the source material does, actually. Voltron. Looking at you. I'm also not saying that the traumatic things that happen in children's cartoons are dealt with beyond the surface level because they know their audience, but Netflix is obviously trying to make their content more adult and can take those hard-hitting things that actually happen in the canon literature and explore them more and how they affect the characters without trying to make the whole tone of the show dark. Like, Winx Club had a lot of hard-hitting things happen that the show doesn't really delve into as much, but Netflix could totally explore a lot more and see how it would actually affect the characters and the world around them and everything. Like, some examples include, number one, whatever happened to Domino, the attack on Domino actually prior to the series starting, where Bloom gets separated from her family, her sister, her older sister, who gives her the dragon flame. That's what it's called, right? Who gives her the dragon flame, is cursed to be a disembodied spirit forever, and her parents and entire planet, like the entire population of her planet, are just trapped in the nightmare dimension. And I don't think they actually properly explored the ramifications of that in the cartoon to the extent that they could have, but Netflix totally could have taken that and run with it. Number two, the whole quest for the Enchantix thing. Stella and Flora genuinely almost died so that they could be worthy of the Enchantix magical upgrade thing. And Aisha was temporarily made blind. Am I remembering that correctly? She went blind to earn her Enchantix. That was wild. And that would have been something that would have been hard for her and had some effects on her. And number three, if you wanted some dark, edgy fairies, Dark Bloom did exist for like 3 episodes, but she existed. And honestly, the fact that it was short-term and not made her entire personality and character is actually a lot more interesting to explore, because the after effects of her having done all the things she did when she was being controlled as Dark Bloom, very interesting thing to explore. And there's probably plenty more that I'm forgetting, but I've already gone off topic. I just don't like the idea that things can only have value if they're serious. And it also feels like a bit of an insult to say that media predominantly aimed at children and teenagers with large female viewer bases need to be modified beyond recognition before they can be enjoyed by larger audiences. Though I guess in this particular instance, there was also the fear of making something too girly, that it would alienate potential viewers, because we all know how people treat the things that teenage girls like. But I don't know. Long story short, I don't like that Netflix keeps trying to make everything dark and edgy, because you can make good shows without having to make them super depressing to watch or just fill them with sex and drugs and be like, wow, look at how edgy we are. Enjoy our media. Yeah, I don't know. Back to the drawing. So this is what I ended up going with. I think it works well for the character. You get to keep the pink and some of the greens from her color palette while not making it too in your face. I know I've mixed prints here and it may be a bit much. Perhaps I should have just left her top pink. But she does canonically wear a strawberry print, if y'all remember her strawberry print skirt in one of the seasons. And Flora does give me the kind of vibes of someone who would mix prints because they make her happy, and she just likes how fun they are. So I think it works for her character. It may not work for everyone, but I think it would work for her. It's also casual enough for being comfortable on set. I like to think, like, it's jeans and a top. So I don't know, I'm satisfied with it. Next up, Tecna. I actually really agreed with Tiana, once again, that she gives off a lot of androgynous vibes, which I think is super interesting for a character whose main asset is her mind. If I remember correctly, Tecna is canonically incredibly smart. And I think it would have been super cool to make her someone who just doesn't conform to one overtly gendered aesthetic, because that part of her is inconsequential. Maybe that's why Netflix didn't include her in the first season. They just couldn't figure out a way to hypersexualize her. Regardless, I layered the House of Eris satin looking hoodie under a pair of multicolored overalls just to play with the textures, so you get that satin texture and then you get the, I think the overalls look to be like some sort of cotton or denim. I'm not quite sure I captured the satin of the hoodie well enough, but as you can see in the little recording, I really struggled with the colors of this one because Tecna's color scheme is like a really saturated lime green and a purple, like a lavender kind of purple, and it's very jarring to put those saturated colors together in vertical stripes and not make your eyes feel like they're in pain. So yeah, I was messing with the color scheme and it was getting to the 3-hour mark, and I just decided that I would figure something out for the stripes of her overalls and be done with it. So I didn't actually put a lot of time into making sure the nature of the fabric actually shone through. So if I were to do this piece again on its own, I would make sure to render that correctly. But I still think you can kind of get a hint that there's something reflective about the fabric, hopefully. But on the plus side, I do think I managed to end on a silhouette that could hint at femininity with the cinched in waist, but isn't so much so that it screams it. For shoes, I picked the koi shoes, the black ones that Tiana suggested with the little stringy bits across. I thought they were really cool, and I thought they worked really well with the overalls because I made the little stringy bits, they're not laces, across match the colors of the stripes, and so I thought it made everything seem quite uniform. And yeah, I just thought they were rad and worked with the outfit. So overall, here's Tecna. Despite the struggles with her color scheme, do think she ended up looking kind of cool. Would draw her again with less of a time crunch. Then there's Musa. This one isn't a portrait orientation because it was the first one that I did, and I was testing out the Clip Studio Paint's new time-lapse feature, and then I realized that if I wanted to use this in a video, they had to be in a landscape orientation because of the whole how YouTube videos are formatted. So I do apologize for that, but I thought Tiana's wardrobe ideas for Musa were so good. Like, Musa always gave me those 2000s hip-hop skater kind of vibes, and this two-piece from Jaded London was perfect for it, and actually doesn't stray too far from one of her canon looks. Like, she has that red top with the baggy jeans that have a similar feel to this two-piece set. And then to make it more TV show friendly, I did add the sheer eye print shirt from Lazy Earth underneath the top for some fun weird girl vibes. But also, I found out that in the Netflix show, correct me if I'm wrong, her character has more mind-based powers rather than explicitly music-based powers, and so the eye motif works super well with that kind of power. So happy accidents. Not to mention her color scheme was so easy to work with and to put into this whole outfit without it feeling forced. And yeah, this is definitely my favorite outfit of the 6 and the one I enjoy doing the most. I think creative process wise, it just flowed really easily for me, so that was cool. Next is Stella. I just thought this pose really suited her. I don't know why the Netflix adaptation made her a bit of a mean girl, because I'm pretty sure she's actually really nice in canon, so it sucks that they just reverted her to the mean rich girl stereotype. Though I did read that there was an in-show explanation for that, like backstory wise, so I guess I'll let it slide. But either way, back to the clothing. She definitely does give me Y2K vibes, but I also think that she would dress in a really simple yet kind of classy manner with some sort of statement piece, here being these white boots with moon and sun elements from Koi footwear, and then on the top I just had like a scrunchy satin looking, I think the material in the original reference dress looks like satin mini dress, and a cute little cardigan with a faux fur collar. Figuring out how to incorporate her overly saturated green and orange color scheme was rough though. Like, there's that one outfit that I think I see her in a lot, and that she was in a lot for season 1, I think, with the green top and the orange skirt. That was what I was pulling on for inspiration, and I could have just went with some oranges and some yellows and those kinds of colors that worked well together for her character, and it would have still been in character because her fairy outfit is all orange. But it still felt like cheating because her everyday outfits did have oranges and greens, and a lot of the Winx characters, if you look at their color schemes, they do have colors that weave in and out of each other and link up to each other, like pinks and greens will have like some commonalities between them. So I didn't want to skip out on it. But yeah, so I settled on the orange dress and the green cardigan, and I'm not sure how I feel about it or whether it actually works, but it works enough for what I'm doing here, so I decided to leave it. Second to last was Aisha, who I actually had a really hard time putting together an outfit for, despite the fact that I was given plenty of ideas from Tiana's video. She does give me athleisure wear vibes, and I did like Tiana's cozy kids sweats recommendations, but it also felt like a bit of a cop-out to draw her in color block sweaters and hoodies, especially because that's an outfit that you can easily imagine together and see modeled, and my goal was kind of to put together these like concepts or like these outfit ideas when you couldn't always specifically picture how they looked. Like, I know for Musa I just used that two-piece, but otherwise I tried to do something like that. So yeah, I also think that Aisha has an athletic build, or would have an athletic build, that would be cool to show off, like the kind of girl who's really badass and can and will beat you in an arm wrestle and deserves to show that physique off. In the end, I did end up giving her sweatpants, but I tried to align them more with Tiana's suggestion for those water printed jeans, or like the jeans with that water pattern design. And so when I was browsing the Jaded London website, I did see these. They were called tie-dye. They don't look like traditional tie-dye, but these tie-dye sweatpants that did kind of mimic a water design without being so overtly water, and they worked really well for her color scheme, so I went with that. And on top I just went with a cropped sleeveless top just to show off her toned bicep. And for shoes, I just think she'd probably wear the Nike Airs that Tiana suggested in her video. So here we are. I feel like I really dropped the ball on shading her skin, mainly because I tried to cell shade it and then cell shade the highlights, and they were just too starkly different to the skin tone, and it looked awful. And then I tried to blend them out and made it even worse. But yeah, I'm disappointed on that, and that would be something that I'd fix in the future if I were to draw this again. But aesthetic wise, like in terms of clothing choice, I think it would work for her character. And last but obviously not least, Bloom, our main character. This one I actually finished quite quickly because I knew exactly what I wanted when I heard Tiana say flared jeans and oversized sweater. Bloom is definitely that girl next door main character that doesn't realize how beautiful and extraordinary she is, even though it's obvious to everyone else, and she dresses in oversized and loose clothing because she's not like other girls. This isn't any shade to Bloom or any shade to people who dress like this. I loved her character as a kid, but it's more just poking fun at the female lead character tropes that people love to write because they want to show how different their leads are. But yeah, so I went in, put her in these Jaded London jeans and replaced the flower like print they have with some hearts, because Tiana was right, she does wear a lot of heart motifs. And then I gave her those popular oversized cloud print sweaters that I think you can get off of Shein or Yes Style or one of those other places that people buy clothes on the internet. And yeah, it was very simple, and there she is. The design was simple. Her color palette is normally all blues, I'm pretty sure, so it can like contrast with her fiery hair, which works well in terms of her character design, and it just made my life a lot easier. So yeah, here's Bloom. She's cute, she has freckles, and I just think this one was fun to do. So yeah, here they are all together. If you ever see this, Tiana, I hope I made you proud. I'm not normally very good at picking outfits for characters. I'm not very fashion savvy, so it was nice to have someone give me a list of things they think the character would wear for me to work with. It definitely made things a lot easier for me. Let me know what you thought down below. Sometime in the future I might do some properly rendered versions of these on my Instagram, subtle plug, and maybe even do some of the fairy transformations. If you like the video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And regardless of if you do, I hope you all stay safe and treat yourselves kindly. Bye team.